Coming to you live from the palatial studios of PBJ Productions. Welcome to Patrick and BJ Talk Real Estate, where we talk about life, the universe, and everything as it relates to real estate. Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Patrick.
And we're back talking all things real estate. And you know what, Patrick? I want to know, why hasn't the housing market crashed? Why haven't prices crashed?
Well, you know, now that we start talking, I got a cough. Oh, sorry, everyone. And, 18 months ago, they started talking about the interest rate's going to go up. We had really cheap money, right? 2.5% for mortgage, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And then I locked in at that time. So I feel like, I'm secure for the next 5 years. I'm one of those people. I go in with a 5-year fix, right?
Yeah.
And the headlines kept saying the market's going to crash. Yeah, and prices from the COVID hysteria, not the COVID part, but the real estate market was so overheated at the time.
Sure, yeah.
Prices did come down, but they also have recovered this spring.
They spiked yeah.
So, I was really thinking, like, where are all the great prices that they promised? But they haven't crashed yet. But so we're going to dive into the reasons why those prices. We're in Victoria, and the prices for real estate are very hyper local to the location.
Sure. Yeah.
So this might not apply, obviously, to every part of like BC or Canada. And talk to your realtor over there or expert over there about like what are the fundamentals that like either make it a higher risk area or a lower risk area. But I'm going to touch on a little bit on Victoria, but a lot of the information I have is going to sort of paint a broad picture of why the prices haven't crashed yet. Okay?
Okay.
So if you disagree with me, please, I might be missing some information. Please comment in the below the video, and we could discuss that. If you have links to like proof of what you're talking about, that would be amazing, because I love doing research. I love reading more. I'm not an economist, but I like to listen to economists and go from there. So let's dive into it.
Okay.
So I touched on this a little bit. So number one, there's going to be 5 points, but the last one, I'm going to have a few extra points to blame on the last one. And okay. I'm sorry when we get to it. I apologize in advance, because I might not be saying it the most nicest way, or you might not take it without it maybe affecting you, right? Okay, here we go. It's not going to get us kicked off the YouTube, okay?
So I'm good, yeah.
Okay, so one thing we have to do is get used to low inventory, right? Mm-hmm. So supply and demand, this is going to be a theme throughout. And I'm really basically explaining why we're going to have a low supply for a while still. And the first one is 18 months ago or longer, we had cheap money. Mm-hmm. So if you got a mortgage, even if you overpaid for the house, or you feel like you overpaid for the house, $100,000, $150,000 or more, money was still cheap.
Yeah.
So if you're locked in at like 2.5% or 2.99% or 3.5%, why would you trade that in for 5% mortgage now, or 7%?
7%.
7%. I know you can get it less than that, but I don't know how long that's going to last, right?
Sure.
That 7% is like the prime rate. So there's not a big incentive to jump into something else unless you've had some things change in your life, right? Maybe if you've gone through, there's some bad things, like if you got through a divorce, you have some life-changing things,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But unless you're paying cash, which is still happening, people are downsizing, they have all this equity, they can buy something else.
Yeah.
I'll talk more about that later. But my point is, why would you trade in cheap money, the lower payments, for higher payments?
Sure. Yeah, makes sense.
Unless, you got a promotion, you got a windfall of money, you went to Vegas, won a lot of money, some reason. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I'm going to give the federal government, I'm going to give credit to for this one, the stress test.
Yeah, I don't know if that's credit, but okay.
I know I'm pretty cynical. I don't give the government a lot of credit, but I think they did a good one on this time. So the stress test. Can you explain it?
Sure. It's qualifying at, is it 2 points higher?
2 points higher.
Yeah, qualifying at 2 points higher than the fixed rate. So you have to qualify for your mortgage 2% more than what the current fixed rate is. So if the fixed rate is at 7% right now, CMHC's rate, if it's at 7% right now, you have to qualify at 9%. So you might be able to, without that, let's say you can buy $1 million house. But with that, maybe you're at 750 or 650.
Right. So it reduced your buying power to limit the amount that you can extend yourself out.
That's right.
So it's supposed to be a bit of a safety mechanism
Right.
for buyers.
Right.
So I can't even remember how long ago this was. And I went through in the past, if you look for videos, how long ago, the government has made it more difficult to buy a house.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where it was supposed to, just in case this kind of thing happens, for the safety of all home buyers. So it's a bit of a conservative approach. So that's number 2. Oh, so explaining that, you should be able to afford it. If you were locked in at 3%, you should be able to afford a 5%. If you locked in at 4.5%, now you should be able to afford a 6.5%. So now it's up to the owners to be able to budget for that, because the bank approved them for 2 points higher.
Right.
Right? Okay. Oh, I don't like this one.
Except they're going to have to get approved for 2 points higher than the current rate.
If they renewed, they don't have to qualify.
Okay.
So even if it jumps up to 7% after, let's say it's a 5-year renewal.
Yeah. But I mean, you're going to go buy another house.
Yes.
Unless you can roll your mortgage over.
Yes. Or jump into, here's a good tip. If you're looking for a house and you're on that cusp, try to find an assumable
mortgage. Yeah.
That's the trick now.
Yeah.
So here's
technically, a banker actually told me this, is technically all mortgages are assumable.
Okay.
But they don't want to tell you that.
Okay. I'm going to be asking more questions. I like that. All right. I'm going to learn something more after this video is done. Here's the one. Negative amortization rates. What does this mean? It means people were on the variable interest rates. They had a fixed payment, and if the interest rate went up a little bit, you paid a little bit less equity. It went down a little bit, you pay more equity, but the payment would stay steady.
Sure, yeah.
So now the interest rates have increased so much that people are only paying interest.
Interest, yeah.
So now you're making interest-only payments, and your 25-year mortgage turned into a 40-year mortgage.
Right.
So what does that mean? I think this is going to so your payments are staying the same, but now you're like, oh man, it's going to take me like 2 generations to pay for this thing. It's
right.
Like I'm exaggerating. So you're going to stay in place. You're not likely to jump to the next one if you're not paying. You're sort of buying
there's no equity, right?
You're buying your time until the interest rates come down again.
Right. You're renting.
You're renting from the bank. So that's number 3, but you're responsible for the roof.
Right.
Number 4, positive net migration. So we continue to have, not just locally. So Victoria has a positive net migration. BC still has a positive net migration.
BC does, hey?
It does. I can't remember.
I know we do, but I'm surprised to hear that BC still does.
Alberta was the highest positive net migration of all the provinces.
Yeah.
Young people are leaving BC to go to work there.
Yeah.
And then baby boomers and seniors are coming here to retire.
Yeah, one of my, I'll tell you, one of my first clients, actually, she was coming back here. She had a son who was probably heading for middle school, somewhere around there. So she's moving back here, got her a place. And she said, yeah, I grew up here and left. And she said, those of us that are born in Victoria, she said, we're kind of like salmon. We come back to spawn, because she said, now I can come back and afford a home here and everything and raise my child here.
Funny, it's salmon season right now. That's awesome.
Right?
That's right. Right. People that are raised here, born here, they come back to spawn. That's a true thing.
Yeah.
Or retire.
Or retire.
Something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So on a national level, we have a migration goals of 465,000 new immigrants every year, and that's awesome. But what they don't tell you is between foreign students temporary workers and refugees, the number's more like 1 million.
Okay.
Okay. So as long as we have a positive net migration, and not every location has a positive, some people, hey, there's not enough work here. We have to go to Fort McMurray to work or somewhere else, right?
Right.
And then you send your payments back to Halifax to pay for your house and that. A lot of Halifaxers.
I know that. Yeah. I've actually talked to guys like that. They're like, yeah, especially growing up in Alberta, right? They're like, yeah, I'm here working. I'm in
The Victoria people too, right?
Yeah, it's like they're on their 10 days in or 2 weeks in, and they're like, yeah, I'm here for 20 days or whatever it is. And then,
I had a tenant doing just that, right?
yeah, 20 and 10, I think one guy was, or 2 weeks in, 1 week out, 3 weeks in, 1 week out, whatever it was.
Okay, the last point number 5,
Yeah.
but I have 4 things backing it up.
Okay.
So you know how we get into lists and it's like a 5A and a 5B.
Yeah.
Well, here I'm guilty of it again, right?
Okay.
So I'm blaming it on the baby boomers. It's not what you think though.
Okay.
So it's not that like baby boomers were born after World War II and Germany was all bombed and Japan was all bombed and then they got all the opportunities for work and stuff because like the global economy was different and we had factories in place. That's not why.
Okay.
Even though that contributed to families that saved, paid off houses. So typically they would have a higher equity and savings, right? But 800,000 of those baby boomers will be reaching 65 by 2030.
Okay.
I put that out there. So the first one, so I said homes are paid off, tons of equity, right? So this is, right? Why haven't we seen the prices come down yet? They don't have to sell. They can just sit on it.
Right.
They can even defer, once you become 65, you can defer your property taxes until your estate sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what though? You have to pay it all in one bulk?
Yeah, you sell your house or you do the equity thing. Like your estate takes care of it, and that's a bill that has to be paid out of the sale of the house or whatever.
Okay.
What are they going to do? They're likely to downsize and buy smaller homes and condos. So even in the entry-level market, if it's a condo, a townhouse, maybe they don't want to take care of a big yard, that kind of thing. They're going to feed back into this demand side of the lower-priced homes. So how many years? It's been forever.
Yes.
Albertans come here to retire.
Yeah.
And not just these, but these are the most noticeable populations. People from Ontario, people from Alberta come out to BC to retire with their, they've got good equity, good jobs.
Yeah.
They come out here. 800,000 baby boomers by 2030. How many of those are in trades? So they will be leaving the trades one at a time. My father-in-law had said he retired last year, but somehow he still needs to keep busy and keep doing things. And I bring up this point because, our premier, I'm going to talk provincially now. Our premier is wanting a target within the next 5 years to build 120,000 new homes. That could be a condo or a townhouse. That could be anything or a single family house.
Right.
In the next 5 years, 120,000 homes per year. The most we ever built, I said this in another video.
I think we talked about this before, yeah.
I can't remember what year it was. It was like 1993 or 1998 or whatever. It was like 40,000 homes built in 1 year. That's our record. And we more likely we built 30,000 homes in a year. Now, immigration levels for skilled trade work might make up for some of this, but then we're losing all of the skilled trade work that's retiring.
That are retiring, yeah.
And the last one, it's going to be a little bit of a sales pitch for Victoria. They sell and move to warmer climates. Guess what? According to Global Citizen Solutions, whatever website that is, Victoria is the #1 retirement destination to retire to.
In Canada?
In Canada.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Of course, like warmer climates. Right?
I mean, we live here, right? And so...
What do people call us here?
We're like the Canada's Hawaii or...
Canada's Hawaii, all of that, right?
Yeah.
So...
Because alternatively, if you didn't come... You're thinking about warm climates from here. If not here, in Alberta, where do people go? Arizona.
Yeah. I'm from Ontario, so we call them snowbirds.
Yeah.
They would go to Florida.
Right.
right? So it's the same sort of idea. So
Yeah.
it's not to say 800,000 baby boomers are going to come to Victoria,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a constant supply,
Right.
right? So that's going to increase our demand. What was David Eby was asking? What do they got planned now? They got a provincial plan of incentivizing 10 municipalities in BC right now to build a certain amount of houses. And like Victoria, Saanich, and Oak Bay fell under that
Yeah,
list.
yeah. I remember seeing that too.
Anyways, it's kind of it's a really lofty goal. I'd be really surprised unless maybe Victoria with like a whole bunch of condos. Like you got to think volume to build to achieve these.
I just know the process from developers and builders is not very exciting in terms of getting things through Oak Bay or Victoria or even Saanich now.
Oak Bay, what there was quoted in the news, it was like, you call the Oak Bay Planning Department or the building department, and the first thing they say is like, "How did you get our number?" Like they're not pro multi-family anything.
That's correct.
You want to build a mansion, you want to tear down something old, great,
Yeah.
right? Their benefit is we don't have a huge population boom, and we get to increase your taxes on that lot.
Right.
You know, you go from like
Sure.
5,000 to 10,000 or
Sure.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because the house is worth way more money.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's funny you say that. So Victoria, I've said it somewhere before. Victoria, Vancouver, and Toronto would be the Olympic medalists of how long it takes to get building new projects approved.
Okay.
So if you want to restrict supply, come to Victoria, Vancouver, Toronto. Where are the highest prices in Canada? I'm not talking about Banff or Lake Louise or something like that.
Yeah.
But major center,
Yeah.
us three,
Okay.
right? Well, that's our common problem. Is
Sure.
There's so much red tape
Right.
and other input that kind of like sets projects back.
Yeah.
What is it on Wharf Street? I think it's on Wharf Street. There's an old building there. It took 10 years for it to get approved.
That's converted into the condo, or they're converting into condo. Yeah.
Yeah, eventually. But
Yeah.
like it's examples like that just
Yeah. Because it got turned. Yeah, I remember it got turned down a bunch of times and on and.
right, because it's not going to fit with the building, with the neighborhood, right? Because it's like it's old Victoria. It's beautiful, and you want to build like some kind of like steel and glass thing. Anyways, but there's a lot of that happening.
Right.
Oh yeah, and Saanich. What do builders say about Saanich? They keep moving the goalposts. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's it. That's the way it is. I'm sorry to all the staff workers at Saanich, but like it's true. Like you have a statement of conditions. We talked about this for building lots. You have a statement of conditions. This is what to approve your building permit, and then you come back and you're like, okay, I've done everything, and then they add something else.
Yeah, yeah.
They move the goalposts.
Yeah.
So now it takes longer. It takes more money.
Right.
It's financing everything, right?
Sure.
Paying interest rate. So. Before I get carried away and going on another tangent.
Yeah, yeah. So let me synopsize. It's an inventory issue. All of this really puts it together as it's an inventory issue.
Here's the example. 2008, 2009. Okay. Mm-hmm. We had 5,000 listings in the Greater Victoria area. We were selling about the same amount we're selling right now. 450, 500.
Yeah.
Back then it would be like a 10% absorption rate. So 1 in 10 would sell every month.
Right.
Now we have like 2,600, we have like 2,600 listings. We have half of that. We don't, thank you. We have more choices for our buyers. And it's not multiple offers everywhere. Like during COVID, when we had 1,000 less listings.
Yeah.
So even if we had 1,000 more listings, we would be normal.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. I was driving by a house today that I wrote on with clients, but in the middle of COVID, when we wrote on it, there were 29 offers that came in on it.
How do you even... I don't even know how to organize 29 offers. It would take me the whole day.
29 offers.
Yeah, to review each one, which one's the best, and start eliminating certain ones.
Right.
Here's like, out of 29, here's 10 that we might look at.
Right. Yeah, you need a day to go through all the offers. You need a day to process but yeah, I was just driving by that place and I thought, yep, there it is. 29 offers to buy this place.
Yeah.
So
It's busy in town still.
yeah,
In certain, like in a medium price range for single family homes, I'm still finding it quite busy.
yeah, and I think we've been talking about that. The other thing is the overall home price in the Greater Victoria area continues to go up.
Yeah.
It's not going down. How's that?
Well, we could go into more fundamentals, right? Like, who's the major employer here?
Government. Well, the three things that drive Victoria's economy: government, IT, and military,
IT tech.
and
right?
hospitality, tourism.
We'll roll military and government together.
Yeah, roll
We're
military and
a
government
capital
together.
city,
Yeah,
and we're a Navy port,
yeah, and tourist hub.
tourist hub. Why? Because it's nice here.
Well, and because as soon as the cruise ships start coming through, that's like you bring an extra city into your city
Millions.
every time they dock.
Millions of people.
Each cruise ship is like a city,
Yeah.
right?
And then if the American Navy visits again, you don't let your daughter out.
Is that so? Oh, I think on that note, we're gonna wrap it up. Oh, you know what? Thank you for. I'm just gonna leave that as it is. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Catch you in the
See
next
ya.
video.